I am from the 3rd Congressional District, born and raised, proud of it, Richland County. For most of my life, and the first campaign I ever worked on, 1980, when I was in 5th grade, went door to door and put up signs for Steve Gunderson, who won his first election to the 3rd District in the 3rd District congressional race. I know the district pretty well. So now the Democrats have this primary coming up in a couple of weeks, Rebecca Cooke, Katrina Shankland, and Eric Wilson. The more progressive Democrats in Madison, including Congressman Mark Pocan, have endorsed Katrina Shankland, who is a great legislator, who's been on this program. Katrina Shankland is one of the few people on either side of the aisle who's taken any amount of seriousness to the closure of 2-year campuses across the state of Wisconsin, of which Richland County was a victim. She came out to Muscatine, just south of Richland Center in Grant County, along with Senator Kelda Royce. Did a great job listening to citizens. That was months ago. I thought that would be the kickoff. I thought they would repeat that. I thought Shankland would go and do that all over the district. I haven't heard that happening. So let me state, I think Katrina Shankland would be a great candidate against Derrick Van Orden. She's a great state legislator. I think that whoever is advising her on her campaign has done a terrible job. They've run a terrible race. Mark Pocan is a great congressman. I endorsed him. I voted for him. I'm going to vote for him again. Had him on this program. Always appreciate him. He's welcome on this program anytime. I let their office know I was going to talk about this today. I agree with Mark Pocan about 90% of the time. Incidentally, the same amount of time I agreed with my former boss, Scott Kluge, when he was in Congress. You just don't agree all the time. You can disagree and not be disagreeable, right? But on this one, Congressman Pocan's just wrong. And why they're going, I mean, here's the thing. If Democrats have something on Rebecca Cooke that they think is disqualifying, that will be easy for Derrick Van Orden to beat her, now would be a good time to say that. Before the primary. Don't be cagey. But if they don't have some disqualifying information on Rebecca Cooke, why would you go after her when the real target is Derrick Van Orden? The progressives, I guess, don't like the fact that maybe Rebecca Cooke just outflanked and outworked Katrina Shankland in this race. I've been all over. I've been to, and I know that not every single town, but I've been driving all over the 3rd District. We've been to Amory. We've been to Chippewa Falls. We've been to Eau Claire. We've been to River Falls. We've been to Richland Center. We've been to Wisconsin Dells. I get back to Richland Center at least a couple of times a month. My sister or her family live in Eau Claire. I have other friends and family throughout the 3rd District. I get there and have traveled this a lot. Rebecca Cooke, and I get it. Look, I know more than anybody else. Yard signs don't vote. I just went through Stevens Point last weekend when I got lost on my way to my dad's. Had to end up going right through Stevens Point, where Katrina Shankland represents in the assembly. I went through campus. I went through residential areas. This was not on the periphery. Going through the heart of Stevens Point. Want to know how many Katrina Shankland for Congress yard signs I saw? 1. If that's all the excitement you could have in your hometown, believe me, from someone who lost 2 assembly races, that ain't good. I lost an assembly race in the 96th Assembly District, which is in the 3rd, encompassed at the time parts of Richland County, Vernon, and Crawford, where Van Orden is living now. I talked about how I'd worked for Dale Schultz in the state Senate, how I worked for Congressman Kluge in Congress, how I knew this area, how I could work for constituents. And the guy who beat me by 2,000 votes, Lee Nearison, good guy, lifelong farmer on the county board, Vernon County. And he would get up after I'd talk about all my experience, honest to God, hand to the Bible. That's what he said. He'd say, well, I'm not a politician here like Todd, but, I'm running for this office because, I need the health insurance. That's what he said. And he beat me. And you want to know why? Because Lee was a good old boy who understood his district and had relationships. My part of the Richland County only had like 5 or 6 townships where I was from. The rest of it was all newer area for me. And so this whole narrative that somehow Rebecca Cooke is going to get beat because she hasn't had experience in the legislature is baloney, especially against Derrick Van Orden. Jane McNair made this point this morning. Derrick Van Orden had no experience in politics before he got elected. And so the fact that Rebecca Cooke doesn't have any experience probably is a huge plus for her.
Also, J.D. Vance, he has been in elected office for 18 months.
Well, sure, there's that as well. And so the thing is that, and also I want to get to this quickly. This whole attack that somehow Rebecca Cooke is bad because she's accepting, monies from PACs. Guess what? In in the 90s, my former boss, Scott Cooke, in his first reelect in 92, ran against Ada Deer, arguably a great figure in Native American politics and history of Wisconsin. But her theme was, I don't take PAC money. She got beat by Klug 3 or 4 to 1. She was also not a great candidate, quite honestly. Great person, not a great candidate. In the year 2000, in Madison, the 2nd District, I helped run a race for John Sharpless, a liberal Republican, against Tammy Baldwin in her first congressional race, not Senate, congressional. Tammy beat us in 2000, largely because she outraised us by taking lots of money and lots of PAC money. And last time I checked, Democrats controlled the House and the Senate in Joe Biden's first 2 years. So if they were really concerned about campaign finance reform, they could have passed something. Biden would have signed it. The Supreme Court probably would have shot it down again. But this whole narrative that Rebecca Cooke isn't doing the right thing because she's playing by the rules to, guess what? Win. This would be, let me put it down where the chickens can get at it, as Judge Weissman once said. This would be like, I know he's retired now, but Nick Saban, when he was the head coach of Alabama football team, one of the best in the country, saying, you know what, we need to change the way we play football. So, and somebody says, well, you gotta put your money where your mouth is. So he'd say, all right, we're going to play by the rules as they think it should be to make it safer, while our opponents play by the rules of what it is. We'll lose by 4 touchdowns, but we'll be on the moral high ground. How long would he have had his job? Politics is the ultimate sport. It's about winning. And Rebecca Cooke is doing everything she can to win. Guess what? A liberal progressive Democrat is never going to win the 3rd District. That's just fact, because that's where I come from, and I understand the politics out there. You need a more moderate Democrat to beat Derrick Van Orden. And this attack on Rebecca Cooke is nonsense. Shankland just ran a bad campaign, and now she's got caught with her political pants down, and she's nervous about it. Cooke's going to win. You mark my word.